Faux show. Faux show.
Can I share with you a really cool story
Yeah.
before we get into your story?
Yeah.
Okay, so how I texted you guys this morning about the tax stuff. So basically, we got a letter in the mail yesterday that was dated on the 15th, and it just got mailed to us yesterday saying by October 1st, which is in a week,
A week, yeah.
we owed almost $800 to the state of Kentucky for taxes that apparently we didn't pay. And I just get this in the mail, and my first reaction was like, I don't want to pay you more money. I don't want
Yeah.
to pay you any more money. And so I took pictures of it. I sent it to my mom, and I was like, I'm afraid this is not fake, because I usually when I get fake spam mail and I'm not sure about it, I send a picture to my mom and she goes, shred it or throw it away. And
Right.
I don't think this is fake.
I think this is the real deal.
And so I even double checked it with websites and phone numbers and everything else. So obviously it was the real deal. And then I'm sending it to Will's mom and we're chatting and she's like, what? And I send it to Will while he was still at work. And I was just my personal mindset was okay, I have to call tomorrow. We'll do our research, we'll figure it out. And hopefully if we don't have to pay it, then we don't have to pay it. And if we pay it, then fine, whatever, we'll pay it so it can be done and over with.
Right.
And that's kind of where I was at, which is weird because normally in the past when I would get large bills in the mail, I'd have I don't know, my version of some type of panic attack over financial issues, since that was has been always a story of my life, huge burden on me with money, and I get so stressed out when I look at numbers.
Yeah.
And but I didn't react that way, which is just really cool. And so the other really cool part of the story is when I sent this to Will, the picture of it to Will, his first thought was, why are we tithing? And he sat there because his first reaction was, why are we tithing? Because that money could go to something else. And then he continued to sit there and he said, no, that's exactly what the enemy wants me to think. And Will comes walking into our apartment from work last night going, the devil is a little punk beep beep. He's a little punk, he's a little words I will not say. But he came in guns a-blazing, and I was like, what is up? And he was telling me this, and I was like, whoa, babe, that is huge. That is really cool for you to, one, have had that thought of why are we tithing, but two, to recognize that that is from the enemy. And for this financial, because we're doing okay, we're getting a game plan down. I've been into the bank 3 times, working with our banker, we're getting a game plan down. We're feeling good financially, coming to a place where we're going to eventually be debt free within 15 months. We have it down to a whole thing. And then for this to happen, and for that to be the reaction, Will was just no, that's from the enemy. That is not okay. And it was just really cool to have him recognize that. And then of course this morning I call, we're getting all the information, and comes to find out we got proof from our bank that we've already paid the bill.
Amazing.
So how cool is that for it to be literally trusting the Lord with our money, and to have this come in to be oh no, we see you, devil. We ain't gonna let you come up in here and mess with our plan. We are protected by the Lord in this house. It ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? So it was just really cool. Cool. Well, thanks for coming and talking with me. The specific topic of what we want to talk about. So we're going to talk about you being a COVID bride,
Oh yeah.
and the process of your wedding, and just kind of all what that looks like. So, do you want to share, like, going way back, like
Yeah.
starting from the very beginning, like what the plan was, like
Mhm.
the whole game plan of like what it was supposed to be?
Yeah. So I'm for like, you know, privacy purposes and everything, I'm not going to mention any of like the names of like
Cool.
things. Um, but I will like I'll try not to. So in the very beginning, so we got engaged in August of 2018, I believe. And we had, we were like, we're going to have a longer engagement because we just feel like that's necessary for us. And so we got engaged and we planned July 18th of 2020. It was summer. I wanted a summer wedding. Then shortly after we started looking at places because I'm a big planner. I have to have things done. I wanted to have things done sooner rather than later because I didn't want to stress about it months leading up to it.
Right.
I'd laugh at myself. Like now,
I was gonna
sitting
say the irony of that. Like,
and just like thinking about it, I like, ha, little do you know. But so we went to a couple venues, and the one venue that we ended up loving, Derek ended up loving it because it was on a rooftop. It was beautiful. It had like a glass, like it could open, like you could see downtown Columbus, and it was just
yeah.
gorgeous. It was perfect, and I could see in Derek's eyes that he wanted to get married there. Mostly because he's an architect and buildings fascinate him, and it just
The skyline.
it just seemed like the perfect place.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, this is it. So I think we put our down deposit down, obviously. We put the down deposit and it was about $10,000. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the real prices just for the sake of the story because it will blow your mind. So we had booked it probably in, I want to say April of the next year. I mean, I think it was 2019 that we booked it because we got engaged in 2018. So we booked it in April of 2019. So we were good. We were like, all right. They had in like house everything. So like
Everything.
food, wine, all of that. It was all in house. So we
And
didn't
like the tablecloths,
Yep.
settings, silverware,
Yep.
the food, the bar, the drinks, like
Yep.
didn't they even have like all the lighting?
Yep.
And didn't they have like did they have music or a DJ or something, or they had at least the sound system and
They did
everything
have a
there?
sound system. Yeah, they had a sound system. We ended up not using it. We ended up using a band. My mom
That's
knew
right.
a
That's right.
band. And we ended up siding with them like early on as well. We got pretty much everything done by the end of that summer of 2019. So I was ready. I was excited. Everything was pretty much done. And it's March. So we'll fast forward to March because honestly, everything was great. I had asked all my bridesmaids. Derek took a hot second to ask his groomsmen, but that's not a COVID problem. It's a Derek problem. So fast forward to March. Everything was great. We were excited. Our wedding literally, 2020 had kicked off. We were really excited about it. We're going to get married in July.
Remember when we were at New Year's and everyone was like, it's the roaring 20s. Like,
Yeah.
woo-woo.
Everyone was so excited and we're just ready for it to be over. And so then it's March. We're sitting on the couch and I remember this specific day when our governor DeWine, because I live in Ohio, started closing things down because of Corona.
Right.
And I don't think that my first thought was our wedding. I think my first thought was me getting sick. That was my first thought because I'm immune suppressed. So I remember freaking out about that. And then my wedding was the next thought. because obviously I'm like, oh my God, we're getting married in July. And I'd been texting my mom and she's like, hopefully this will blow over. I mean, I remember we were all like, oh, 2 weeks in quarantine,
Right.
we'll be fine. And then it turned
I
into
was That's what I was gonna say. It's like, okay, it started in March,
months.
and then we were all like, okay, it'll be good 2 weeks, and then we go into like the quarantine, like shutdown, to where we're like,
Yep,
okay, 2 weeks,
it'll be fine.
and we're just like still okay. It'll be done by May.
Yep.
Like it'll be done by April. It'll be
It
done by
kept going.
May,
It kept going.
and we're like, okay, we'll see what happens. Like it's just we
It
never
just
even thought of it until it kept
it
being
just kept
pushed off.
escalating.
Yeah.
Right. So in March, I wasn't as scared for my wedding. I think it really started hitting me when big gatherings and DeWine was like, okay, well, you can't have, like, I'm not going to tell you not to have weddings, but you can't have more than 10 people.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that was like a really big shock because I was like, I can do 10 people, like, that's fine. But I have like people that are really close to me that I need and want there.
Yeah. That's
Um,
just like hard situations to have to look at for your wedding that like you dream
right.
of.
To pick people out
Right.
of the, like, we were lucky because where we were going to get married at, the venue only held, I think our max was 150.
Yeah.
So we were only planning on we invited about 180, but we knew not everybody was going to show up because I have older relatives that live in New Orleans, like, who I knew just probably wouldn't show up. So we, with our guest count, and this is important for later, our guest count RSVP'd about in March, I think, or past March. Maybe it was, I don't remember when we sent out our save the dates or our RSVPs. I think it was in May. We got 140 back saying they were coming, which was great because I think around this time, coronavirus also wasn't like as scary. It was still very scary, but
Yeah.
we still had people who were very hopeful and like,
Right.
this will blow over, it'll be fine.
Yeah. By the time your wedding comes, like we'll be good. So we're gonna RSVP. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had 140 people RSVP. So I think it was in mid-May when people started to kind of get iffish, and this started with my some of my family members started really, I don't know, we'll have to see. And then June hits, and it was the first week of June. Well, we couldn't have, I guess in May, we couldn't have a dance floor. They were like, okay, well, you can have a wedding, but you can't have a dance floor. Okay, so my venue was like, all right, well, we're going to set up for COVID. Like, we can have some, things, but there can't be a dance floor. That was like the first thing that was really big for me. I was like, crap, this is not going to be fun. It's just going to be dinner. We're paying all this money just for people to eat. And,
we're the girls who love to dance.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to dance. And also we were going to have it California style, which is fine. But for the ceremony, like people in their seats, it just wasn't something that I saw my wedding as. And it was hard for me to accept that. But since that's the way my venue was doing it, I was like, whatever.
Right.
So, and by this point, all the people that I had for vendors were fine. My flower people were a little bit iffish. They were scared, but I didn't see it in their eyes as this is also their industry and what they do. And I have a cool story about my flowers that I'll share. But first, before the flowers, June hits. And we're on our way to my bachelorette party, which is fantastic. We're able to go socially distant.
Can I share like about leading up to that?
Yeah.
So I feel like even before all of that, in that whole time span, like looking back at it now, it's like a blur because like though all of those months, months was like, okay, what can we plan? What can't we plan? Because like being in the quarantine shutdown, we were like, we might not have a bachelorette party for you. We might not have your bridal shower. Or like, even if we do, it would be like all of us coming and crashing at your house, and like it would just look a lot different, and we'd have to plan everything so much differently. And like even with planning your bachelorette party, I had to be in contact with all of the Airbnb people and like Airbnb, the company itself, because of all of their new structure and things that they had to put in place. And it was like very back and forth with the girls of like, okay, here's what we can do if we can go.
Yep.
Here's what we could do if we could do a mix of both. And here's what we have to do if we can't go. It was all like, we had to have so many options prepared because you couldn't really make the decision until the last second.
Yep.
Before it was like, okay, it's go time. We're good. Like, go,
We're
go,
good. Let's
go.
do it.
But thankfully, like, we did get to go and plan your bachelorette party basically as planned. Obviously, some things looked different with like what we did and face masks and what we protected ourselves with, because thankfully our group of girls is smart and safe and just cares. And but also I'm very thankful that we got to like do your bachelorette party the way that we did it. But yeah, okay, so it's June, and it's what, the week after your birthday?
Yes. Yep.
So we're on the way to your bachelorette party.
Yep. We're all in the car on the way to my bachelorette party.
Yeah.
And I am scrolling through Facebook because I'm not driving.
Yeah, you were just like in the passenger seat.
Just like bro chilling in the passenger seat, scrolling through Facebook. All of a sudden, I see something about my venue because I liked them on Facebook. I saw something, and it was a post that read, due to the coronavirus, we are having to shut our doors and will not be able to have any events. So I literally went, oh my God. And that's like the only thing I remember I could say. I just sat there and went, oh my God. I remember our friend Kate turning down the music and going, what? Like, what's wrong? I went, my venue is closing. And everybody in the back seat, I remember going, well, they're probably still going to have like the
scheduled events.
Your scheduled event, they're probably just going to close after that. I was like, I don't know. And I remember screenshotting it and sending it to my mom, sending it to Derek, going, what the hell is happening? Someone needs to call.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't know. But apparently my mom had known about it since 8 o'clock that morning. And my mom had been crying for 3 hours. So
she got an email from them, right?
Yes.
They sent out like the mass email to all of the people who had scheduled events.
And it was crazy because that Friday they had an event that Saturday.
Right.
And it blows my mind. They were booked out till June 2021. They didn't furlough anybody during COVID. So all of the money, all the down deposits going to their employees. So it's not a great business model. But anyway, and they also said at the very end of the email, oh, we're not giving deposit backs. Our deposit backs, they're gone.
Yeah, so they basically were like mass text message out to all of their scheduled events and people who have paid them.
Yep.
Like, hey, this is my quick version. We're bankrupt. We're closing. Yep. You can't have your events here and you don't get any of your money back.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Yep. So we had found out that they were booked till June 2021 every weekend, and everybody who had booked events. I mean, a $10,000 deposit, it's a lot. That's a lot of money. So
I wish I had that much money in my bank account. Who are we talking about?
Like, so my mom's freaking out. Yeah. I'm freaking out. Derek is doing what he can because he's already dealt with me and everything this past couple months. And I know he was freaking out about it too because he had this vision.
Yeah.
What our wedding would look like. So I'm
like a loss of a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like how, you can't just like repay that back.
Right. Exactly. So that weekend, thank the Lord, I was with I mean, it was definitely a God thing where I was with my friends when I found out about it and not at home
Totally.
by myself. It was definitely a God thing. I know that God was looking out for me because I didn't cry. That's something that I think I definitely would have cried about if I was by myself, but I didn't have the opportunity to cry because I had people around me. Like I literally had a team of angels that were in the form and shape of my best friends around me, protecting me. So
Yeah, I
Derek,
just remember Kate, like as you're starting to talk to your mom, Kate is driving and she's like, I'm not good with conflict, so we're gonna go get ice cream. And we
yes,
pulled into Culver's to get milkshakes.
yep, we did that, which was great. It was awesome. It was really funny because you were on the phone with your mom. Beth is sitting there
Well, I
like,
was like talking to your mom
yep,
and my mom,
yep,
texting Derek,
yep.
texting your mom,
Texting Will.
texting Will. Oh, yeah. And then I had to tell Will, like, hey, you're going to Columbus this weekend and you're going to help Derek. Like,
Will was the best man and Miranda was the matron of honor. Just like, the team, the dream team.
yeah, dream team. Whoop, whoop.
The dream team. And so great. My soon-to-be sister-in-law, my brother's getting married, I think in April. They had to change their date due to COVID too. But she had apparently stopped what she was doing when she found out because my mom called her first.
Yeah,
She
like at work.
Yeah, she at work. She was working from home at the time, so it was easier for her to do, but she dropped everything and called 47 places.
She's a rock star.
Legitimately. And I said, I don't care. At this point, I know this came out of my mouth. I said, I don't care where it is. I want it on the 18th, though.
Yeah, as long as it was like the same date.
Mm-hmm. Because up until this point, I had struggled with, should we push it back? Should we postpone it? But my whole thing was, I don't know what the world's going to look like in a year. I mean, it's what? September, almost October, and we're still in it.
Right.
So I don't know what anything's going to look like in a year. I don't want to reschedule my wedding. I don't think I have the mental capacity to do it. And that was a big fight for me, feeling selfish, feeling, all that stuff. And it's not what it was. And I had contemplated, let's just have a backyard wedding. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Oh yeah, because we had if we couldn't find another venue, it was like we had your sister-in-law's backyard planned. Like we there was like all of the backup plans were in place.
Yep. I was just ready to marry Derek. And I remember my mom specifically had texted Derek because she was kind of over texting me before the venue. I think when COVID started getting into the thick of it.
Yeah.
She was like, why don't we just wait another year? Like, why can't we just wait another year? Why don't we just postpone it? And Derek said to my mom, which totally changed my mom's mind, I don't want to wait another year to marry your daughter.
Best answer you could give to a mom.
I know. I was like, good for you. Yes. So my mom was like, fine, we're doing it. Yeah. And we, contemplated on just doing something intimate and then waiting for a big reception. But then again, we were like, we don't want to have to do that. We don't want to have to do this twice. We just want shebang done. Like, we just want it to be done.
Right.
So after the venue, things started to rocks off of a cliff. It was
snowball.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I would get emails from my flower girl, not my little flower girl,
the florist.
The florist. Thank you. I wouldn't get emails from Cammie and Kenzie.
Yeah.
Morgan,
how are you?
Who was like freaking out because so many brides had postponed, and she had said cancel and postpone in an email about 5 times, which stressed me out, freaked me out.
Right.
So I got upset. I got mad. I was like, it is my prerogative, whatever I want to do. Like, I am paying you. You should be happy about this. So I had a meeting with her, and of course it was safe. We had masks on, whatever. Before I went in, the first thing I did was I sat there and I prayed and I said, God, please let this meeting I just want kind words to spew out of both of our mouths. Because I loved my florist when I first met her. We connected instantly.
Right.
So the fact that I was just already annoyed with her and mad, I didn't want to have to deal with it. So I went in, and after I prayed, and I found out she was pregnant. And she was just genuinely excited that I was still having my wedding. And she apologized for the email. She was like, I know it was scary, and I know I shouldn't have put that on you. That was my fault, but I'm scared too. And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm not the only one hurting here. There are so many other people who this is their jobs. This is their livelihoods.
Right.
And it's being destroyed.
Yeah.
So that was just a little side bit because that did happen, I think, before the venue. But that weekend, when we were in the bachelorette party, Derek, Will, my mom, my sister-in-law, my soon-to-be sister-in-law, and my aunt went to, I think, about 5 venues.
Yeah.
And
right.
they all toured for me. And I said, I don't care. Send me pictures. You know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And so they went to a bunch of different places, and they finally found one that my mom loved, Derek loved, and they could see me loving. It was a golf course, completely opposite of what my original venue was, but it was a golf course. And the lady, apparently, at that time I didn't know her, was fantastic, was really great, and was, obviously gung-ho about having events because they had been closed for so long.
Yeah.
And she was ready. She was excited, and they had our date, which was awesome.
Yeah,
so,
she was like ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like your mom said, she was like basically planned your entire wedding out. Like within like 2 weeks or something it was? Like it was crazy time.
It was crazy. And so
I just want to point out back to your story about the florist, because I remember like how stressed you were about it, and the emails, like you showed me the emails, like did not sound good. Like you should not talk to your customers
no
in any sales thing ever like that.
No.
For just good customer service and being like kind to people. But yeah, you were just like so stressed out, and when you called me afterwards, I could like hear the beaming in your voice, because like in that moment, like whatever, a small meeting with your florist, like I think it truly made a huge difference for you, because God showed up in literally answering your prayer of like, let these be kind words that come out. And it was like,
because I could have gotten mean. I could have gotten Brian's
right.
But I didn't want to. And that was the thing. That's one of the biggest reasons why I prayed, because I was like, that's not going to help this situation. This is not going to make me not stressed.
Right.
I felt it. And I even told my florist, I said, this made me feel like a normal bride again, which made her cry.
Pregnancy hormones
made me cry.
Or just emotions, that too.
All of it. We were all just like emotional, and just, it was great. God was there. He was literally had sat next to me and had his hand on my back, which was amazing.
Yeah.
It's just those little things, which was awesome.
Yeah. So we're finishing your bachelorette party. We've got the new venue.
Yep.
The wedding planner is the bomb.
She's amazing.
And then what?
Okay. So I don't get these right in chronological order, because like you'd said, it's like a blur.
I know. I feel like everything just kind of happened at once. And then,
it was at the very end.
Happened twice, and it was just like,
it was like, okay, all right, that's fine. So at this point, we were allowed to have 300 people, and which great, because at the time,
like, I was so surprised when DeWine was like, you can have weddings up to 300 people again. I was like, we went from 10 to 300 people.
And and it was great. I remember that day I cried. I called my mom, and we were allowed to have a dance floor. It just had to be socially distanced.
Yeah.
So everything was good. We had some people drop, so we were probably about down to 130, which was fine.
Say, didn't you like occasionally within the week like leading up to your wedding, the day before, like the day of, you had family members and people calling and texting you saying that they weren't coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before that, there was apparently problems with the band. And the band consisted of, which they had been great. Like, I will still say they've been great. Consisted of older gentlemen who were scared about being, playing at a wedding. And I didn't know about this. They kept it from me. My mom and Derek thought it was better to keep it from me until they got it figured out.
Yeah.
Which probably was for the best, but I knew something was wrong. So that I just knew. With my mom and Derek, they're not great at hiding secrets from me. So my mom was freaking out, like, oh, they don't want to play anymore. Like, now we're gonna have to find a band. So they found a DJ that my brother knew or something, which was fine. I understood, and they were great. The band gave us all of our money back, everything.
Yeah, which is really nice because they even worked with the wedding planner at the venue where wasn't it at first like they didn't want to do it just because of their at that age where they're just more able to get sick. So then Lisa, was it Lisa who was the wedding planner?
Yep.
She's awesome. She talked to them and was like, hey, we'll set you up outside, put the plastic barriers up so you're kind of in your own little corner outside, if that will help make you feel safer to play. And then they were more interested in that idea. But then it was supposed to rain that day.
Yep.
And we couldn't have them inside because that would defeat the purpose.
Yep.
And so
they had to drop.
So then that's when I think your mom, she called me about it too. She was like, I just don't know what to do. And I was like, you need to make the decision so that you can have a final decision and feel okay about it. And so that's when they went with the DJ, just to know that that was like a thing, like a definitive decision. But I thought the DJ was awesome. Like, he was so much fun.
He did great. Well, and he ended up being a lifesaver, which I'll talk about in a minute. Yeah. So great. Everything seems to be awesome.
Yeah.
It is the week of my wedding.
The week of.
So first, DeWine had said, I'm going to come on and we're going to talk. Which, when DeWine says something like that, you're like, oh, shoot.
Right.
We're about
kind of not planned.
Railroaded. He's going to close things down again. Like, so many speculations were happening, and it was really hard. I made Derek sit in this room with me, and we watched it on my iPad, and I sat there and I was coloring because that was the only thing that I could control. So he pretty much said, watch it. He didn't make anything, which I got upset about.
He was like, please just wear a mask.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. And that night we had a bunch of Derek's family members drop.
Yeah.
So a bunch of Derek's family members dropped that night. So we're like, awesome. Okay, so we're down to about 115-ish. 115-ish. And I was going to let it stress me out, but I didn't. I was like, whatever. Whoever is meant to be there will be there.
Yep.
And then that Thursday, we get an email. We had a ceremony band, a 3-piece trio. Obviously, that's what a trio is. But we had a 3-piece. And they emailed my mom and said, hey, we might have been exposed to COVID. We have to get COVID tested and we can't play at your wedding.
Yeah.
That Thursday before. My wedding was Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay. So my mom is like, do you know of anybody else? Like, what can we do? And she said, oh, I have a harpist that will play. I've already talked to her. Cool. Harpist is beautiful. That's fine. If she knows all the music, I'm fine with it. So we let that roll off our backs. We're like, okay, that's just another thing that's trying to put us down.
Right.
And so we get to.
Okay, wait. Can I add a thing in there?
Yeah.
Because I think this was like on Thursday or Wednesday, like the week of, because didn't we get phone calls then from the new venue that
Hmm.
said the
Yes.
health department has to
Yep.
come in
Yep.
and double check everything to make sure that we're okay to open, and we'll let you know if we can even have your event here. And so then it was like your mom is waiting at the phone
Yep.
for the go ahead, because then it's
Yep.
like we can't find a third venue, like we're gonna
Nope.
have to do the backyard, like there's no
Yeah.
time. And then the same thing happened with where we had your rehearsal dinner.
Yep.
They were
Yep.
like, the health department is coming, we have to wait for their go ahead for us
Hmm.
to even let you know if we can have your rehearsal dinner here.
Yep.
And so that was just like another thing, which of
It was
course
another
both
thing.
worked out, but it was like you had to hold your breath until
Well,
we got the
yeah,
okay.
it was another very stressful day,
Yeah.
like waiting. The waiting
Yeah.
was definitely just the hardest part. And yeah, so Friday hits and everything seems to be fine. You and Will had already come up that Thursday, which was, oh my gosh, I can't even express to you how helpful it was. Even though I had to work, I think I had to work that Friday or something. I
Yeah.
wasn't. Oh, I had to get
You
my
had
hair
to
done.
you had a hair, yeah, your hair
Yeah, I
appointment.
had to get my hair done, and Will and Miranda literally showed up. We that night they bought walkie-talkies, which was fantastic.
We did. Oh, because then I got to help your mom with like ordering food and everything else. So I
Yes.
got a lot of work done at
Yeah.
your place, which was good.
So also with another place, our hotel was
That's right.
downtown Columbus, and during, I think it was during May, June-ish, was all the riots that happened. So they had to close because of COVID. Also, they had to close because of the riots.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know about this maybe till like after, I think after the wedding, my mom told me that she didn't know if we could even stay at where we were staying.
Oh my gosh.
And so she had called and they said, no, we'll be open that weekend. Like, you're fine. So that was just another thing that happened.
Yeah.
Because we were getting ready there, like everything was going to happen there. So then Friday hits and we go to the rehearsal. Everything's great. Everything's going awesome. I'm very happy. Everything's awesome.
Okay, and then in between there.
I was gonna say, should I say it?
Okay, so we're good. Things are finally rolling, like it's happening, like we're making it happen. We had the rehearsal in the morning, and then we went to go do girl things. And the
Yep.
boys were gonna do boy things, and the
Yep.
boys had to go to Men's Warehouse to pick up their tuxes.
Yes.
And so with COVID, they all had to like go into a Men's Warehouse that they live by,
Yep.
get fitted once, order everything, pay for it, and get it delivered to the one in Columbus closest
Right.
to you guys, because the only time that they could get it was pick it up the day before the wedding.
Right.
And of course the boys go and they get there and they all have their tuxes except for Will,
The best man.
my husband, the best man, one of the best men. And it was delivered here where we live in Kentucky.
Yep.
At least 4 hours away.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so Will like looks at the clock, on his watch or his phone or whatever, and is like, if I leave right now, and if I attempt to get through Dayton and Cincinnati rush hour traffic, I can get there, pick it up, and get back here just as we're starting the rehearsal dinner.
Yep. And he did.
And he did.
I didn't even know about it. They weren't going to even tell me, but Derek was just, because Will got there, I think Derek was excited about it.
Yeah.
That he got there. And he's like, guess what happened? And I was like, what else? I thought,
like, what else could happen?
that was one of the things where I'm like, I wish more problems like that would have happened because they were easily solvable. And he did it. He came back. It was great. He made it.
I know. Like he beat us there to the rehearsal dinner.
He was exhausted, but he did it. And I was very thankful that he did that. Yeah, I thought that was really funny. It was just another random little tidbit that of course happened.
I know, right?
So everything's going awesome at this point. have the rehearsal. We go back to the hotel. Everything's great. We're like, all
Yeah, we
right.
had a great night. Like,
Yeah. Food
we
was
had
great.
so much fun. Like,
It
oh
was
yeah, dinner was great. Like, yeah, you were finally feeling like a normal bride. Like,
right.
you deserved that. Like, we were having a good time. Yeah,
It was
it
really
was
great. And
good.
it was just pretty much just my family and Derek's parents there and then the bridal party.
Yeah.
And so it was very social. It was great. It felt good. So we wake up the next morning. Everything's great. We're getting our hair and makeup done. Everything's honestly up and, we get there. We're sitting in the holding room for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about 5 o'clock, I think, and our ceremony started at 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was you and Beth that came in and told me that the harpist wasn't there.
Oh yeah, the harpist.
It didn't
So
show up.
that trio canceled for the ceremony. They hired the harpist, and it's like the ceremony is about to start, and the harpist never showed up.
Never got an email, never got anything. Harpist never showed up.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Another God thing, I'm telling you, because when we had talked to the DJ a week or two before when we were planning all the music, he was like, do you want me there a half hour early before the ceremony just so I can set up? And I was like, nah. My mom actually was like, I don't think we do. And then I went, no, I want him there. Even Derek was like, why would we need him there? I'm like, it will just be better for him to set up before everybody gets there. So, he's not coming in if there's pictures. I was like, yeah, I want him there at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God, because there was just something in my mind that was like, no, he needs to be there at 5. Thank God he was there because I had on the program all of the music that I wanted to play.
Yeah.
And he was ready.
He was there, got plugged into the speaker outside, and he made it happen, man.
He was on top of it because I remember you guys coming in and going, hey, Harpist is not here, but don't worry, DJ's got it covered. And I went, okay.
I was like, oh, okay.
I literally,
What else?
I was like, that's fine, cool. Like, I didn't cry. I wasn't going to let it ruin my day because I really felt like I get chills now because I really felt just at peace and I was ready to do the thing. I wanted to, and even our priest, our pastor, she didn't have any symptoms, but she had gotten COVID tested that week just to make sure.
Yeah.
She wanted to be prepared. She was fine. She didn't have any symptoms or anything. She just wanted to be sure. And she told me about that later, which I thought was funny.
Oh,
so we did have
some funny thing though that happened in between that during the rehearsal and the morning of when we were getting our hair and makeup done. Will couldn't find your ring box.
That's right.
Like the box. And because Vicky had it at rehearsal and then Will had it and then we didn't know where it went. And so Will and Derek are texting Beth and I. We're texting everyone like, who has the box? Like we have the rings, but we don't have the box. And all like we asked everyone. And finally we were like, we have to ask Morgan. Like we don't want to ask her, but we have to ask her. We were like, Morgan, where's the ring box? And she walks over to the bag right in front of us and goes, oh, it's right here. And we were like,
I had it because I already knew Will had like the actual rings to worry about. So I was like, because he wasn't going to be holding it. It was going to be our ring bearer. So that's why I took it. I probably should have said something to someone.
But nobody knew. And we were like, no, not another thing. Like, where's the ring box?
I remember you and Beth's faces. You both looked just so defeated.
I know. We were like,
you're like, it's all good.
Of course you would have it. Like, it's fine.
Oh my gosh. So the ceremony happened. It was beautiful. It was great.
Beautiful.
It really was. It was amazing. We had our time with God. We took communion. Derek, and I'll go back to this in a minute.
Okay.
We have the last kiss, our final kiss. We did it. Yay. It's awesome. Yay. At the very end. And the ceremony had been done. Derek and I walk in and he goes, you'll never guess what happened. Like, we're literally walking out of the ceremony.
Yeah.
And I said, what? Because at this point, nothing surprises me anymore. Literally, aliens could have attacked, and I would have been like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's
normal.
on track. Like, that makes sense.
Derek looks at me and goes, I've been sick and throwing up and having diarrhea since 2:00 last night. I went, excuse me? And it's another God thing, and I'll tell you why. But I said, what? He goes, I was up. I don't know if it was food poisoning. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was nerves. I don't know what it was, but I've been up throwing up. I've been throwing up since like 11, but I was scared that I was on throwing up in the toilet this morning, crying because I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. But something got me through it. God got me through it. I kept praying to God and asking God, like, I just need to get through this. And some of the guys went and got
I want to get married.
Yes. And, nothing like Derek has been taking this like whole wedding situation like really well. Like he definitely was, I definitely knew he was stressed for sure.
Right.
Being who he is, he wouldn't tell me that because I'm a very stressful person. So he took a lot on his back.
Yeah.
I think was a big thing. We think nowadays, especially in 2020, you can't have any other sicknesses besides COVID. So we know that there was a bug going around, like a stomach bug, but you don't hear about that kind of stuff because of COVID, because we thought maybe it was food poisoning, but no one else got sick. No one else felt sick.
From the dinner. Yeah. He
was
was the only one who got like food poisoning or something.
The devil literally said, I have one more trick up my sleeve.
Oh, I know.
And it could have happened to me. But God, I have a phobia. It's called endophobia of throwing up. I get very anxious. I go into panic attack mode of other people throwing up. I freak out.
Yeah.
But God literally said, nope. If that would have happened to me, game over.
Yeah.
So
it would have been a completely different story. But for the fact that like Derek had to deal with that, of whatever the enemy was trying to do, like, one more thing, like, let me completely make your husband, whatever, if it was food poisoning, it's got to be a combination of the nerves. And all the stress that was there finally kind of like releasing.
Yeah.
Because it was actually happening to where his body probably literally just like shut down. And was like,
literally, like all the things.
Yes, like literally needing to get it all out, but that poor guy.
And that night he didn't eat. He
didn't eat your dinner.
He didn't
eat your cake. Like,
he didn't. And it's a good thing that our cake place will literally like make it in a year so we can have some.
Yeah.
I did. I said, I love you, but I'm gonna eat.
I'm gonna eat.
I'm gonna eat. I need the food. So yeah, I mean, the rest of the night went great. He definitely didn't feel good. He was Pepto-Bismol all night, and I think about it, and I thought, he did look pale. He definitely looked pale, but looking back now during the ceremony, I was like, oh, he looked stressed and nervous, but I think he just didn't want to throw up on me.
Yeah, that too. And because you were getting married. It was
I definitely think he was nervous.
And he cried, and it was so cute. He made all of us cry too.
He did. He cried. He said he wasn't going to, and I think,
no, he totally did.
He was ready. He was so ready. But after all of these things that happened, it happened, and it was beautiful, and people who wanted to wear masks wore masks. Like it was great. It was beautiful, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's just so funny looking back on it and trying to pick out the negatives, and not realizing that it ended up being a beautiful day. And it was our wedding day, something that we'll never forget, and we can tell our children about. And through all of the bad, like, we still had God on our side. He wanted us to get married, and we did.
Yeah.
So it was just really, I would never wish COVID bridum on my worst enemy. And I will tell people that now. I say I don't wish the planning on anybody, because I was all prepared. And that literally went down the toilet. Like, it was gone. And if you know me as a person, I'm very organized, and I don't like things that aren't in my control. And this was definitely a big wake-up call for me. I definitely got patience. And I have learned to let things roll off my back. And I think also this was just another God thing of him saying, hey, like, you gotta go with the flow and
let him control it and take care of it and provide and for you.
So hard.
Yeah.
I think that was the hardest thing. If someone had to say, like, ask me what was the hardest thing, and it was definitely letting go and letting others take control and God take control.
Right.
As a bride, you've been dreaming about this your entire life.
Yeah.
Is not something that I thought was going to happen to me, but it did. And
Yeah.
getting married in a pandemic was definitely interesting, but I'm glad that now, I have a husband and I don't have to deal with the wedding process. The wedding was great.
Yes.
More.
When the wedding process is done, it is like, oh my gosh, like, so like, look at all this free time and things I don't have to think about. Like, what am I going to do with myself now?
I mean, especially after COVID wedding, like, whoa.
Oh gosh,
Whoa.
I can't even.
And it was really great. We were so thankful for our vendors. We were so thankful for our friends and our, the bridal party and our parents. And, it just ended up being great. And now when people ask me about it, I'm just like, it's over, but I'm happy. And now I get to move on with my life. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it was definitely a process. I could write a book. And I'm sure there was
Totally.
other little things that had happened, but
Oh yeah, I feel like there was so much that it's so hard to remember all of the details
like to
because
pinpoint everything,
there was so much in that timeline that had happened. Like,
I mean, and you could like chalk it up to like, I remember my gym closed down, and that's the only way that I had lost weight in the past year. And I'd been working so hard, and it was, I was like, oh no, I'm going to stress eat. And but I ended up, getting insanity and keeping up with it. And it was great.
no, you literally were the most beautiful bride. Like, sexy.
Sassy.
So
It was
hot.
it was great. And I wouldn't trade the day for the world. Who was supposed to be there. I had bomb-ass bridesmaids and an amazing matron and maid of honor who literally, I can't wait for the video because I know there is.
I want the video.
It should be out soon. But yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about who was the original vendors that stayed. And actually, a lot of my vendors really did stay with us. The only big one was the band in the hall.
Mm-hmm.
So our florist stayed with us, our photographer stayed with us. And I'm going to mention my photographer's name because she was a blessing. Her name is Kimberly Pottereth. I can't say her last name, but her name is Kimberly. And she was amazing with our engagement photos. She likes to know who her couples are. She likes, really great. Throughout this entire COVID process, she would text me asking me how I was. And I mean, imagine how many brides she had. She probably did the same thing for her. She would text me.
Or like how many things got rescheduled. So like
Right.
that's how she makes her living too. Like, so you think of all of the vendors and the people who make their living off of doing these events and weddings and like how much money they lost too.
Wedding planning and wedding stuff was like in $1 billion industry, and COVID went, no.
I know, like so many people
but she would email me. She even sent us a cute little card that said like, I can't wait for your wedding, whatever it looks like. I can't wait to shoot it. Like, it's going to be amazing. It was just little things like that really made me feel better and good. And I definitely think, my mom has her sides of the story that she's able to tell. Derek has, you have your sides of the story that you're able to tell.
Yeah.
But we got through it and it happened. And I mean, I don't think personally I would have ever wanted to postpone it. I don't think I could be doing this, trying to plan my wedding now too. So.
Right. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, like, you're married.
Yes.
It was a beautiful day. Like, the photos are gorgeous. Like, yeah. No matter all of the things, like, ultimately, it was great and it was beautiful. And you have so many stories from it.
Yep.
And one day, when your kids get married, you can say, nah, you think this is hard? Like, no way.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to be like, listen here, kiddos. But yeah, it was a process, and I mean, think of wedding planning and then throwing a global pandemic on top of it, plus the riots happened. So a lot went on in the world, and we kept moseying along, and it
Yeah.
happened.
So like, I don't know, I guess to wrap up, out of all of the things that you went through and experienced for your wedding, um, kind of like, where are you now? What did you learn? Um, what would you tell somebody else who would go through the same thing
Hmm.
or would go through a wedding process in general, let alone a pandemic? Um, yeah, or just anything like, struggling with controlling their life and dealing with letting go to let God
Yeah.
take care of
Um,
it type of thing.
so I definitely learned patience, and I definitely learned to let go. And also, I learned to go to God instead of turning away from Him in the hard moments. Because for me, I said earlier, it was so easy to let the devil in, to let him say, like, hey, like, you're selfish. Like, I would see things online that would be like, wow, brides who are trying to still hold their weddings are just like most selfish people. And I was like, no, we're not. Um, and so I learned to let go. I learned to turn to Him. And I also learned to turn to my husband, now my husband,
Mm,
then my fiance, and be able to be like, we're in this together. Like, this is our wedding. This is not just my wedding. This is our wedding. And
yeah.
not be selfish in that way. To
Mm,
like hear his feelings, hear him out where he is, to check in with him. And I think that's so
yeah.
important in marriage. And I think the advice that I would give to anybody going through, either now still going through a COVID wedding or even just in the future, let people help you.
Mm,
Don't, yes, it is your day. Absolutely. It's your day with your husband. It's going to be amazing. But let people help you, because if you don't, it's going to be hard. Because if
yeah.
I didn't let any of my friends get me through things, like let you take over things, or let God take over things, or my mom, I would be miserable, and it wouldn't have been great. So let people help you. That's what the bridal party is for. That's what, also be patient
Yeah.
and let it happen. Don't give the devil the satisfaction of your stress. He
Ooh,
doesn't deserve it.
girl, that was good.
Yeah, I mean, that that's it. I mean, don't let him have that, because he doesn't deserve it. You can get through it, and you can be happy. That's what your day is about. The day is ultimately about you, your husband, and the Lord.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my advice. Be patient, let others help you, and enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
Enjoy your
definitely.
wedding day. Holy smokes. It's the best day of your life. Really, it is. It was the best day of my life. Enjoy it. Enjoy, soak up those moments, even in the scary, the stormy. Literally let the rain touch your skin. Heck yeah, let it soak through. Like, it is a great day. It is even it might be a stressful process, but let it happen and be excited about it, because it's an excited day, and not even COVID can ruin it. So, and then also 2 weeks after, we were all freaking out because we wanted to make sure, and everyone was fine. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. The
yeah,
aftermath of it, like,
yeah,
thankfully everyone is good, healthy, safe,
yeah,
clean, and there was no issues there. So
yeah. So it ended up being a great day, and yeah, and don't bottle things up, because that won't help.
that won't help.
No, but yeah.
Yay!
Yes,
Well,
thank you for talking with me, letting me rant about it, because
yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. I just wanted to like have you share your story. Because I just think it's a great story.
yeah,
And I'm sure that it will be either entertaining for others or helpful or whatever it is. So,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah. And for people who are probably wondering if I got my deposit back, I have not yet. We're fighting the bank. So
there's
just
that.
letting you know. It still lingers. But
Ah!
we're working through it. So they
Yes,
did keep it, haven't gotten it back. So
there's
yeah,
that.
yeah, there's that.
Well, I love you.
I love
for
you. Thank you. You're the
sharing all the
best.
things.
I'm gonna go eat pizza.
Pizza.
Yes. So, all right.